Hello everyone, I'm Tim from Tim's PC and I build custom PCs to suit anyone's needs or budget. I also live stream all my builds and repairs for transparency and educational purposes. So if you would like to get an awesome new PC and you'd like to see it get put together live, send me a message today. Alright, so today we're working on a laptop today, so not a new PC build, but a laptop. So what we've got here is an old, I don't even know the exact model of this laptop. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. I know it's got an i3 in it. I know its production date was in 2013. So it's an 8-year-old laptop with an i3. And a lot of you guys out there are gonna actually have a laptop like this lying around the house somewhere not being used. It's old and slow. It takes forever just to boot up into Windows and it's just a pain to use. Well, you can actually get a lot more use out of it by upgrading a couple of simple parts. So one of the things that I do through my business is I do upgrades on computers. So with things like an old laptop, I can get you some more life out of something like that. So what we're going to be doing today is we're just going to have a quick look at how this thing runs as is, and then I'm going to install some new memory, or an additional stick of memory, and I'm also going to install an SSD here as well. So these two upgrades, plus putting Windows 10 on it, because it's currently got Windows 8, is going to be significantly better. Jesse's here. How you going, Jesse? Yeah, so we're just upgrading an old laptop today, so a bit of fun. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to plug in this laptop. HDMI, I'm going to plug my keyboard and mouse in as well. There we go. So I don't think it will output a display on while it's booting up, so just watch the screen when we do this. So I'm going to power it on. It's now booting into Windows. Alright, looks like we're in Windows now, so I'll change the screen over. You should be able to see. Here we go. We are in Windows. Oh. Okay. So as we can see here, we're into our desktop. We've got some internet I can plug into it. Okay, so we've got some internet there. So I'll open up Chrome. I'll open up Microsoft Store. Oh, it's this horrible Windows 8 app. We'll go to Facebook. So I mean, it's working, but it's not by any means fast. Waiting, 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 all that kind of stuff. Just waiting some more. Oh, now we got something, but nothing's like showing up. It'll get there. I can hear the hard drive spinning. Oh, not responding. There we go. Alright, we got that working. I've got task manager icon. Okay, so let's see what we're running here. So we've got an i3-3217U at 1.8 gigahertz, which is a 2-core 4-thread. Yep, 2-core 4-thread. Memory, we've got 4 gigabytes of RAM. But we can see here it says slots used 1 of 2, so we can definitely install this extra stick of memory, so that's good. Bluetooth and Wi-Fi not connected, so Wi-Fi is on and it is detecting things, it's just they're just not connected, so it's not showing up at all there. So it's not that there's an issue with our Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, we're just not using it. And our Ethernet, let's have a look at our Ethernet. View network details. So we've got 1 gigabit Ethernet on this laptop. So we shouldn't have any internet bottlenecks there. But anyway, enough's enough. Let's make it a bit better. Paul says, my laptop has Windows Vista, probably best to burn it. Yeah, yeah, probably. It's probably going to be quite old if it's got running Vista. I mean, this is running Windows 8 and it's 8 years old. How much for this upgrade? So it depends on the size of the SSD and the size of the memory, but also what model laptop it is. So this one here is quite an easy laptop to upgrade. They've made it easy to work on in that regards. Some of them have to be nearly completely disassembled to actually do it. So it becomes, what you're going to see me do here today is going to be a pretty simple job. But in some laptops and some form factors, it is much more considerable, and it requires, you know, fully disassembling the whole frame of the laptop and pulling all this stuff apart. There's a lot of bolts. In a lot of cases, you've got to disconnect these little ribbon cables that slot in place with these little tiny plastic clips. They're very, very delicate and you can't break them, or if not, you've just ruined the laptop. So it's a very delicate, fine operation with some of them. But like I said, what we're going to do here today is relatively cheap. So depending on your price of the SSD, the labor involved here is only $55. So it's just the cost of the parts on top of that. So it's really simple what we're going to do here today. But like I said, some laptops, just depending on what one you've got, it might be considerably harder, and it might be about, you know, double the price. So alright, so let's get all this unplugged. And so I had a look at this the other day, so I don't know how well you can see it, but on the bottom of the laptop here you can see it's got this panel that comes off, and it's got a little symbol of what looks like a stack of CDs, and then another one that looks like a little microchip of some sort. And so what that is designating is that this is an easy access panel to access our hard drive or SSD and our memory. The memory is the little chip. The stack of disks represents an SSD or a hard drive. So in this case, they've made it very, very easy. You can just undo a screw here. One screw. And unclip this panel. And so like I said, this is not a generic thing with laptops. Like when you see me build a computer, we're dealing with the ATX form factor, which is an industry agreed upon standard layout where they put things in certain spots on the motherboard. So they're all, whether you get, you know, ASRock board or a Gigabyte board or an MSI board, things are laid out roughly the same. There's some small changes there, but realistically everyone follows that same layout. With laptops, it's almost completely ad hoc. So on this particular laptop, on the bottom, we have a 750 gigabyte, 2.5-inch hard drive here, and we have 4 gigabytes of memory here installed. I can't see the exact specifications of this memory, but this is dual channel, so we should be able to install a second stick even if it's not the same timings as this first stick. So that's always an advantage there. Not all laptops have the 2 slots, so sometimes your upgrade, if you wanted to achieve more system memory, might actually involve removing what you've got and putting in a larger stick, and so that could add to the cost as well, because if you just have to get a, you know, we're going to bring this laptop up to 8 gigabytes, we're just going to install another 4 gigabytes here, so we're going to have dual channel 8 gigabyte system memory when we're done. And with our SSD here, so we're just going to remove this 2.5-inch hard drive and install a 2.5-inch SSD. So I'll try and do this upright if I can. Sort of not getting good grip there. Yep, that'll work. Alrighty. So we'll take out our sodium memory. This is DDR3 memory. And just like our M.2 drives, it slots in on an angle. But unlike our M.2 drives, there's no screw to hold it down. There are these 2 little arms that clamp in place once it's pushed down. And there we have it, we've got our second stick of memory installed. And so now for this part, I'll put it down for a second. Just gonna unscrew our drive. Am I missing a screw? No, just didn't want to come out. Alrighty, so here's our hard drive in a little tray. Another thing that you could upgrade on a laptop is the Wi-Fi. So we could put an AC or AX Wi-Fi card in this and give it, you know, gigabit Wi-Fi basically. So what's Ezra say? Do you buy used laptops or nah? I do, but I can't pay you like what you'd get on Marketplace, for example. with PC trade-ins and stuff like that, I do accept PC trade-ins, and laptops for that matter. But the thing is, I'm like a car dealership, right? Because I'm running a business. I can't buy things for like what you could sell them for privately. Right? That's just how this sort of thing works economically, right? I've got to justify it from, you know, a time perspective and a risk perspective as well. So, you know, those sort of things have to be proportioned. So that's one of the things that could let you down if you trade in your laptop or PC to me. But if you're just after a quick sale and, you know, just want it gone, you can't be bothered dealing with all the low ballers and stuff on the used market, then absolutely you can bring it to me and we can do something. So that was. Make sure I'm putting that in right. Yep, that's looking pretty good. Yep. The last thing I want to do is put the SSD back in the tray upside down. Then I'll have to do all this over again. And so with a 2.5-inch hard drive swapped to a 2.5-inch SSD, it's a very, very simple swap job. That's why I don't charge a lot of money for something like this. I basically just charge you for the time, because I've got to install Windows on it and stuff around a little bit more than what you see me do here. There we go. Now we'll screw that back in. Sticker in the way here, I think there is. Just pull that back a bit. There we go. Okay. So, now that we've got it to this stage, we can look at putting an operating system onto it. So, let's plug in Windows 10. Let's plug in our HDMI port. It probably won't function at first. Alright. Shit, I had the screen off for the whole time I did that. That's fucking shit. I'm sorry, I'm flying solo, so I'll forget to do things like that from time to time if I don't have someone with me. Just having a Saturday afternoon nap. Can't say no to letting a woman have a Saturday afternoon nap. Okay, so turn my keyboard around, that might help. Why am I not getting a post? Oh, you're gonna make it difficult for me, hey? Well, that is strange. Just give it a second. So we should be getting a post here. Okay, let's have a look. That's all in there fine. Okay, so we're not going to do the backup. Okay. It wasn't liking the RAM. Or we just had a bad mount on the RAM. What do you reckon? Turn her off? I reckon we turn her off. Who reckons bad mount on the RAM? Who reckons incompatible RAM? Let me know. Bad mount. So all that happened there was when I plugged in the RAM, it just didn't make good contact and it was causing an error. where the computer wouldn't post. So there was nothing wrong with anything else that we did. And keyboard is not being detected. Let me just plug it in live. Boot option menu. Oh no, we need to restart. So let's turn it off. And let's just put our covers back on. We've got a screw to put back. There we go. Okay, everything's being detected there. I think everyone can see the screen. Oh, looks like we have stalled out there. Might have to go into BIOS and change the boot mode. Okay, so we're into BIOS. Yep, so we'll go to Legacy. Secure boot is off. Alrighty, so here is our Windows 10 installation. So we may have to revert back to UEFI, but that's, yeah, the fun and games with laptops. They don't always make it easy for you. Okay, so I'll make the screen a bit bigger so you can see what's going on. But at this stage, oh, let me plug in a cable. No, that's not going to work. Alright, so it's not going to work for the Windows install apparently. Oh. Nice work. Okay, so let's just continue with this Windows install. Install now. It may or may not ask us to enter a product key. It's a Windows 8 system, so it may want a new activation. It's having a think. Now it wants a product key, so we'll go, I don't have a product key. Now we'll install Windows 10 Pro. Yep, so there's our SSD that we've installed. And this old 2.5-inch hard drive. They're horrible. But we'll just wait for Windows to install here, and then, you know, we'll make sure everything's running right. But you'll get a much better experience now running Windows 10 and off an SSD and not a hard drive. That's the best upgrade that you can possibly make to a laptop. Adding a bit more RAM is great, but the SSD is the thing that's going to make your life and the usability of the laptop much better. It's a little bit slower than an i9, but you know, it's an 8-year-old i3, so but it won't be an 8-year-old i3 bottlenecked by a hard drive. It'll be just an 8-year-old i3, not bottlenecked. Oh, it's getting there. It's getting there. I've got a laptop about the same age as this. It's a little bit higher spec than this. It's an i5, and it's got a GT 740 graphics card in it, like the mobile version of it, obviously. And yeah, I put AC Wi-Fi, so Wi-Fi version 5, 16 gigabytes of RAM in dual channel, and a just an ordinary SSD in it, and it's great. Use it for like running emulator games and stuff, because that's one of the great things that you can do with an old PC like this. You can, if you've got old Sony PlayStation 2 games sitting around, you can get software that will turn your computer and your CD drive into a PlayStation 2, and you'll be able to play all those old games off the discs. So it's one of the great things that you can do with PC, and you'd think that'd be illegal, but the method in which the companies come up with the programs is where the legality lies, and because the ones that are out there, the people who've done it have reverse engineered the product without any unique code that was developed by the original manufacturer, so they can legally make the software to do it, and then that means that you can legally play all of your old PlayStation and PlayStation 2 games. Alrighty, so we are just about done. Alright, so I think it's on legacy boot. Oh no, it's gonna do it for us. Windows is gonna make an alteration to the BIOS maybe. Let's see if it did. We'll see if it did when it reboots again. Alrighty. So we're nearly there. Nearly back into Windows and ready to hand it back to the customer, essentially. Like I said, it was a relatively easy upgrade process, just because the manufacturer of this laptop, this particular design, had the two key components we wanted to upgrade under one panel. Like, I gotta tell you, if you watch this video and you're like, oh, I'm gonna do this myself to my own laptop, just take it a word of caution that they're not all like that, and maybe just have a look and see if you can see those two symbols on a flap on the back that you can just undo a bolt. Then it's probably going to have the hard drive and memory under there. And if you've got that, then it's really easy to upgrade. But if you don't know, getting it working with the BIOS and boot modes, and that's all a bit complicated, you can always just bring it at me. I won't rip you off for it. It's an easy job. It's only going to be $55, which is just $50 plus the GST. Because like I'm sitting here now, but if I was just doing this job quickly on the side for you, I wouldn't have to be sitting here wasting my time doing it like this. I just wanted to show this particular upgrade in a live video for everyone, because this is the best thing you can do for your old laptop. And once you've got, you might go, what use do I have for my old laptop? Well, you know, if you got a TV, if you got a TV in the house, it's not a smart TV, well, you can hook your laptop up to it and turn it into a smart TV, and better than a smart TV. I told you about the PlayStation thing that you can do with them. There's plenty of uses for an old laptop. Leave one in the kitchen. As long as it boots up fast and stuff, thanks to an SSD and all that. Yeah. Handy to have in the kitchen to look up a recipe or do whatever. I mean, we've all got phones, but sometimes it's better to read those sort of things off a big screen. Looking for inspiration, photos and whatnot. Keep it in the car for emergencies. You're out, you need access to a computer, or for whatever reason, hotspot your phone to it, and you've got a computer there just sitting there in the car waiting to be used. that's actually going to turn on and respond in a decent amount of time, not be some slow piece of shit that's more of an inconvenience to use. Okay, so let's get our Windows set up. It's gone past us. Yeah, so keyboard layout US, skip adding a layout. I don't have internet. And we can turn off all this crap. Alright, so we'll plug in our SSD here and we'll get some of the usual software, but not everything that we usually do. Yep, still not outputting the signal, it's just because it's just installing for the first time. Let's elevate the laptop, I hear the fans kicking on. There we go. And are we going to output to the screen? We'll get our Windows updates, all of our driver updates. It's a bit painful that it's not passing through the video signal there. There we go. Some custom icons down, as I always do. Now what do we need? Don't need much. Put the usuals on. No Furmark, no GeForce Experience, none of that. Let's get those first four. Okay, what else do we need? I don't think much else. VLC. That's it, isn't it? Yep. Alrighty. So we get the rest of those driver updates. And then hopefully obviously waiting on like some sort of graphic drivers or some sort of device drivers for that HDMI output there. We will get there. There we go, this will just take a little bit to download. In the meantime, I might go to the toilet and we'll just let that run through. Is there anything else we would do? Oh, you'll set date and time. Nearly done. Yeah, it's getting a bit boring now. I think there's only one person watching right now. How long are we in? Just under an hour. It's pretty good. The list is a bit smaller now. Still waiting on our graphics card drivers. But we are also downloading and installing Office. CPU is absolutely tanked. So what can happen there when your CPU is tanked like this, just installing and downloading, you can potentially have a situation where your CPU is bottlenecking your internet speed. Getting there. Oh, hey Nick, how you going? Yeah, we're just finishing up on your mum's laptop here. We're just getting Windows 10 installed and all the drivers and stuff like that. But it's now got 8 gigabytes of RAM and it's running off an SSD. So it's going to be a much nicer experience. Be a Farmville machine. There's our graphics card driver. And should be able to. There you go. Now you can see the screen. Until we had that graphics card driver, that HDMI port, the default driver didn't know how to communicate with it. That's why we weren't getting a signal there. So I can stop reaching my head around to look at the screen, and I can just look at my screen over here. Cool. Office is done, so the rest of this will download nice and quickly. Okay. Just wait for these to finish off. Make sure there's nothing else here I want to install. I think that's everything. Not too bad, Nick. Wasn't too bad inside. I've seen worse. The screen was pretty dirty, and keyboard was pretty dirty. Clean that. Alrighty, let's just restart now. Yeah, just keep it elevated. Just keep the air intake at the back elevated and it shouldn't make as much noise. That's why I've got it sort of sitting up like that. Yeah, I don't really have much else to do. Just waiting for this cumulative update to install and then restart. I'm pretty good to go. There's nothing else to install on it or anything. So you got 191 gigabytes free. It's a decent amount of space. Yeah, it always takes a little bit longer with like, you know, a dual core processor when you're installing all this stuff, but once everything's set up, it's fine. I mean, at least you don't have to wait long for, you know, things like Google to open up. Oh, I know what I'm doing while this is going on. I'm going to finish cable. So I don't think there's much to manage in here. Just got a PCIe cable. How's the rest of it looking? pretty happy with that. It's looking pretty good. Don't think I've got much foam up here though. Yeah, no, that's all good, Nick. I don't really have enough to do much more than that for now. Well, there's the base of it done. So as you can see there, this is how I pack up PCs. I pack the case in with anti-static foam so that everything's all nice and neat and held in place. So this graphics card's not going to fall out and get damaged in transport. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the rest of that. I could do another cable tie there, but I don't think it needs it. All the rest of them look nice and tidy. Yep. Nothing I can do about that cable that runs there. I could have routed it like down there and up behind there, and yeah, but I might not have had enough length. Yep. Pretty happy with that. Not much foam in that. Yeah, so it's going to be ready to pick up today. I'll have a look at your other computer tomorrow, mate. Okay, so we're going to need... Alrighty. One PC ready to send. Alrighty, another one off, ready to be sent. Yeah, should be able to get that desktop going for you again, Nick. Alrighty. Ready to restart. So now it's got 8 gigabytes. So 8 gigabytes, Windows 10 and SSD. So it's still an 8-year-old i3. So if you get it to do something intensive, it's still going to take a little bit of time to do it. But at least not running everything off the hard drive is going to mean that, you know, things will load a bit faster now. This update that it's doing is a pretty substantial update. And it's good to get old computers like this running Windows 10 now, because while 8 is still supported, it's on its last legs. So you'll get a bit more life out of this laptop. Once it installs this update anyway. So tonight we're going to be building another 3060 with I think it's a Ryzen 5800X this time, and it's not going to be water cooled. We're going with a big, massive air cooler, this big tank black one. So you'll get to see how that goes, because it's just as good as a water cooler. So ultimately it's air that cools both water coolers down and air coolers down. So water is just a vector of heat transfer. You've replaced a straight metal heat sink, direct contact with the CPU, with a block that runs water over it to a radiator. So you're using water as a vector. Water's not doing the cooling, if you know what I mean. The water requires cooling. So, yeah, it's a little bit... Someone uneducated might go, oh, it sounds the same, but really it is... those two concepts are quite different. Water doing the cooling and water being a vector of heat transfer are sort of two different things, even though it sounds similar. So I mean, you're cooling the water down, and then the water's cooling the block down. But the thing is, it's the air that's cooling the water down. the water is just transferring the heat. Nick says complicated. Yeah, I guess it is. If I could put it in visual terms, I could make it really simple. But you've basically got different materials that transfer heat, and in the water cooler you're using the water to transfer heat. In an air cooler you're just using a big metal heat sink to transfer the heat, and then both of them are ultimately cooled by the flow of air over either the heat sink directly or the radiator on a water cooler. Yeah, okay. Like, I mean, it's like probably like grade 12 physics stuff, really. But like, yeah, it's all measurable stuff, and what you pay for when you buy high-end air and water coolers is the material itself has high heat transfer. So because of that is what makes it a more effective cooler. You put a really good quality air cooler on a CPU and it gets hot, and it's not because it's doing a bad job, it's because it's doing a really good job at drawing the heat away from the CPU. Just like a really good water cooler system can keep that water really cool even though it's running over the hot block, and as such keeps it. Oh yeah, this update, yep. It'll take its time. I mean, we've seen Windows error out on this update before. I've done other videos on it, but because it's a laptop and it's an older laptop, we're gonna let it go. It's still doing something. Missed video call from Harold Erskine. Bloody hell, Harold. What are you calling me for, mate? Ugh. Come on, man. we're getting close to the point where I just turn it off. It's my SSD causing it to stall. Okay. Geez, this has gone on for a little bit. Oh, we're done. So there's nothing on this hard drive that you need? Nothing I have to get off this? It's just on the other computer, eh? Yeah, sweet. Sweet as. I love it when we get to this point, especially with a laptop. Don't have to stress test it. It was a little bit slow to get those major Windows updates installed, but we've got all of the drivers and all of the Windows updates installed. We've got some useful software installed as well, so it's just ready to use. Yeah, I might even have a look at that this afternoon, Nick. I'll have a bit of a lunch break after I've finished here, and then I'll get that other one out of the way. Then maybe you guys can come pick these up tomorrow. Do you want to see this, Nick? How good do you think it is? Not good, but it is what it is. Yeah, it's about 7 or 8 times faster than a hard drive, what we're seeing here. Like one of those 2.5-inch hard drives, that is. They're really slow. So now our old laptop has reasonable read and write speeds. It's not NVMe read and write speeds, but it's like totally usable. So yeah, so you've got, oh, we're not seeing, let's test the Wi-Fi. That's unfortunate. So 72 megabit Wi-Fi. So Wi-Fi is nothing special. And there's your 8 gigabytes of DDR3 in dual channel mode, but you lose 2.1 gigabytes to your onboard graphics. Oh no, some of it will be onboard graphics, some of it's just cached. Yeah, there you go. Just make sure there's no cumulative updates there, and that'll be done. Yeah, no, it's gonna be fine for that. At least you got Windows 10 on it now, and oh, you got some cumulatives. These don't take long to install, these ones. These are just little updates. Okay. Yeah, no, well, I'm gonna do the one that I've got planned for like tonight, because I get more people viewing the builds and stuff at night. So I don't have anything to do this afternoon, so I may as well work out what's up with the other one and get it fired up. But let's just do a fresh startup, and let's just see if we can notice an improvement. I'm sure we'll notice an improvement. And straight to our desktop. Oh, I don't think anyone saw that because I've got the camera on this, and I don't think you have to see the boot. Anyway, I'll shut it down. You can watch the boot up. You can compare what it was when we first started. You can skip back to the start of the video if you want, and have a look at this when we first booted it up, and when we boot it up now. That's fully shut down. Power on. And bam, we're on the desktop. Bam, Google Chrome, and it opens up. Yeah, we're on the internet. No, we're not. We're not connected. Oh well. But yeah, now it's responsive. It boots up fast. Happy days. Alrighty, well, I'll catch everyone in another video coming up in about probably half an hour's time, and we'll be trying to get another old computer going. This one's got probably more major problems than this one. This one worked okay, we were just upgrading it. This one's not turning on properly and stuff, so we'll have a look at that one next. Then I'll catch you all in the next video.